Hey, sometimes you just have to realize that you're wasting your time. I was answering the objections of a statist last night. I had a post that was pointing out the stupidity of constitutionalists and the hypocrisy and inconsistency of them. And this guy comes in and he starts doing all of the standard constitutionalist arguments. You know, it's not the Constitution's fault. It's our fault for not holding the government to it. And, it's legal. Government is the consent of the governed and blah, 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 blah. Every single point he made, I could answer easily. I mean, there wasn't any problem. It's just that he just was an endless fountain of these things. The same things that have been totally, completely demolished for probably hundreds of years. And yet he's whipping them all out like they're brand new, like nobody's ever come up with the answer to them or whatever. And one of his things was, well, yes, obviously people can consent to be governed. Well, yes, you can consent to be governed. You cannot consent for me to be governed. Your consent applies to you and only you. It does not apply to me. You can consent to, have your nose removed or whatever else. That doesn't mean that your consent applies to me. You cannot consent for other people to be governed. Period. You can do whatever you want. You can come up with, any legal definitions or whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you cannot consent for anyone but yourself, period. And this guy just didn't get it. And really soon I figured out, that we're just talking past each other. There's no communication. He's not listening to a single thing I say because he's made up his mind. And like I say, these are all things that I and people way smarter than me and long, long ago have thoroughly thought through and utterly demolished. There's nothing that he can say that hasn't been destroyed. Everything he said was nonsense. And yet, he's clinging to it because he's desperate to be governed. Whatever, be governed. I don't care. Just leave me out of it. Trying to argue with an anarchist using legal definitions and statist concepts and stuff like that is as silly and pointless as threatening atheists with hell for not believing. You're just on completely, totally different wavelengths. You're not even in the same universe. So to try to do that is pointless and stupid. Anyway, sometimes you've just got to realize that nothing you can say is going to convince the guy or even get through to him because he is not going to listen at all. And at that point, you're just wasting your time and you might as well move on to something else, even if the person sees that as signs that they won. Whatever. All right, later.